Hey everyone, welcome back to Baby Tales of Mischief. I'm Jake, and with me as always is my partner in all things chaos, Patrick O'Malley. How's it going tonight, Pat?
Jake, I'm grand. Cheers. Though honestly, just thinking about tonight's topic has me feeling a little bit knackered already. I swear, bedtime with toddlers is more intense than any pub quiz I've ever tried. That's saying something.
Right? So tonight, folks, we're tackling the great Bedtime Showdown. Why do toddlers suddenly become tiny lawyers at bedtime? Seriously, it's like the negotiations that must go on in Congress, but with, more sippy cups and less decorum.
Or not much less decorum if you've seen my nephew in action. But go on, what happened with your kid the other night, Jake? I think you mentioned something about stuffed animals and barricades?
Oh man, yeah. So my daughter, she's 3, decided one night she was not, under any circumstances, going to bed. I walk in and she's built like a great wall of fluffy. All her stuffed animals lined up in front of her door, and she sits up and says, "We need to negotiate," like hand gestures and everything. I wasn't sure if I should laugh or start, preparing my legal briefs.
She's a genius already. Honestly, you have to respect the commitment. I mean, you get everything, right? Requests for just a bit more water, a desperate "I have to pee," even if you just checked 5 minutes ago. It's like they have an internal playbook of stall tactics.
And every night it's like they're revising that playbook too. There's always a new angle, the blanket's too itchy, my toe feels weird. I read that bedtime refusal is sort of about wanting control, testing boundaries. But I gotta say, sometimes it looks more like performance art.
Performance art with a soundtrack of whining and the occasional primal scream, yeah. But sure, you can't help but marvel at the creativity. Where was I going with this? Oh, right. Sometimes it feels less like a showdown and more like a nightly improv competition.
But let's be honest, it's not all standoffs and barricades. There's this switch, right? 1 minute it's DEFCON 7, tears, defiance, the lot. Next minute you're getting a cuddle and an "I love you" you never saw coming.
Totally. And it's jarring. Like sometimes after a full-on meltdown, I'm steeling myself for round 2. And suddenly there's this tiny, sleepy voice. "Daddy?" Then she just wants to snuggle. And I'm sitting there thinking, what just happened?
Happened to me just the other night with my nephew, actually. He was absolutely raging at the very mention of putting on pajamas. I mean, red-faced, fists balled, like I'd asked him to swim the English Channel. Then, no joke, 2 minutes later, he just melts. Climbs right up for a story and kind of nuzzles into my arm all, "Uncle Pat, tell me about the dragons." Complete emotional whiplash, and I still can't predict it.
It's honestly wild, man. Why do you think they do it? Like, is there some grand plan behind the fury and the flips to cuddles? Or is that just normal toddler programming? I never know if I'm being manipulated or if she's just, unpredictable, I guess.
I'd say a bit of both if I had to guess. Toddlers are these little storms of feelings. They don't really know why they're upset. Then suddenly they remember you're also their safe place, Maybe it's not a plan so much as all that emotion bubbling around in their wee heads.
Yeah, it feels like their love language is drama. And honestly, they get away with it. 1 minute you're the referee, next minute you're the pillow.
Let's talk about the creativity though. I mean, listeners have sent us some absolute bedtime masterpieces. Like one story this week, a little boy who just every night insists every single toy truck has to be tucked in before he goes to sleep. They had I'm not kidding, 30 trucks. What was supposed to be a 10-minute routine turns into this 90-minute saga. If that's not dedication to chaos, I don't know what is.
It's incredible. Beats my nephew's "one more story" gambit every time. You end up budgeting your whole evening around bedtime. Well, trying to anyway. Makes you wonder, is there any strategy that actually works, Jake? Or are we just, enjoying and improvising along with them?
I want to say there's a magic fix, but honestly, it's all trial and error. You gotta be firm, or else you're setting yourself up for never-ending bedtime, right? But some nights, most nights, I end up giving in for that one last snuggle or tucking in the trucks or whatever it is. I tell myself I'll be stricter tomorrow, but we all know how that goes.
That's the thing, isn't it? You find your balance between not letting things spiral out, but also not missing those moments you'll never get back. Maybe that's the real trick. Flexibility and a bit of good-natured endurance. Or a willingness to see the mischief for what it is. A sign of growing up. Even if it does make you lose a bit of your sanity.
Yep, and hey, at least it makes good stories for this podcast. If nothing else, we're giving everyone permission to laugh through it.
And that's what we're here for. We'll have plenty more chaos, cuddles, and creative bedtime tactics in future episodes, so don't worry, you're not alone out there in the trenches.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm Jake.
And I'm Patrick. Mind yourselves at bedtime, and we'll see you next time.